What's up, guys? Season 2 has started and we were lucky enough to get matched up with MMXIV. That's right, the #1 alliance. Season 1, Season 2, while I was recording this, they were #1 masters. Alright, so let's get into this video. And so as you guys can see, I brought in Blade, Ghost Rider, and Void. And this first node was Limber. They added aggression to it and Unboggle Special 1, and it turns out to be a Taskmaster. So as you guys know, Taskmaster, he gets shortened. For every debuff he gets, they have 10% less potency the next time they're applied. It's a general debuff, so basically that first bleed, it'll be full effect. The second bleed is going to be 10% less potent, so it's going to be weaker and shorter. Alright, so the next node, 18, because past 6 wasn't hard enough already, they added Bane to the stun immunity, and I had a guy do that node for me, so thank you to him, because it took a lot of weight off my shoulders having that done. And we got node 24, and I know what you guys are thinking. Dude, you're bringing Void into a skill fight? Yes. So the past couple wars before season 2 started, I've been seeing a lot of Blades here, and what I used to do is take in Sparky, and Sparky with his low block proficiency, sometimes I couldn't handle. I think there was a one time where I got smashed by Blade, so now I'm taking in Void. And as you guys can see, so the guy had Blade on his profile. He had on his Alliance World attack team, because I waited till he joined, he had I believe it was like Gwenpool and like Voodoo and I forget who else. Maybe a Magic on his attack team, so I was so sure this is gonna be a freaking Blade, and it freaking turns out to be Agent Venom. And as you guys can see, he's freaking shrugging off my debuffs, but lucky enough, I did get a Petrify debuff on there, so the Petrify along with the Dexterity debuff, that's 50% plus 15% since I do have the Despair Mastery, so it's already pretty much completely countering his regen from either willpower or from buffet. Alright, so this is kind of a long fight, but it's good to know in the future that Void still works basically no matter what champion is on here. I thought if I faced a Agent Venom here, I would probably die or time out, but it turns out that he does pretty well, especially with the fact that for some reason Void's dashback is pretty easy to not trigger Dexterity on certain champion matches up. Sorry. And as you can see here, I got 5 debuffs now. And as you can see, 248 per tick. So debuffs, they tick twice per second, so it's actually 500 per second. And then Fear the Void is a passive debuff, so there's no way that Agent Venom can shrug that off. And first 2 debuffs stick, so very awesome. Plus I got the attack increase from Fear the Void, and Agent Venom is down. So satisfying kill, especially since I was kind of nervous initially. As you guys saw, I got intercepted, and then I got freaking I blew the freaking SP2 evade. Like, come on. Alright, next fight, and we've got 6-star signs. So I didn't really know how to expect, but it did turn out to be Gulk. And I know a lot of people say, alright, keep Gulk below the 100 frenzy, but that only matters if you're fighting a stun immune champ. And as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the parry, So after he uses a special attack, if he's in frenzy, you can't punish it, or after he uses heavy or whatever, or you can't intercept him. But if it can be parried, not a big deal. So yeah. Alright, so Gulk is almost down. Basically just parrying him a little bit more to get to an SP2. And use my last SP2, and that finishes him off. And the next fight, they added explosive personality. And explosive personality, basically if you hit him against their block, they gain an armor up. And if they gain 4 armor ups, it deals 25% of your total health against you, which is could be pretty bad depending on who's on here. But I'm not sure if it's lucky for me or unlucky for me, but there's a sentinel here. As you guys can see, I'm mixing up the combos, and I never thought I would say this, but thanks Kabam for putting sentinels in AQ. So I'm pretty much like doing the light medium, and medium light medium against sentinel. It feels pretty normal for me. So as you can see, I only got that what's it called, analysis charge, the 4 ones from evading his SP1, which can't really avoid, but doesn't matter because it was low enough that my crit rate wasn't reduced by an insane amount. Alright, so got another cosmic here, and this is MMXIV. So these guys rosters are freaking huge, and I knew this wasn't going to be a Medusa. So it turns out to be Hyperion, which isn't too bad on this node. I can understand the logic to it. So Arc Overload gets activates a regen and armor up on the defender. And I guess the logic here is because Hyperion, as a 5-star, gets plus 70% buff duration. So I've also seen a Dr. Voodoo on here, which gets 100% increased buff duration. So very logical placement. The only problem is if the guy taking this node has a void, then it doesn't really matter how long. Actually, it's actually even better if that regen lasts longer, if the guy has a void. Alright, so what I've noticed is that on this Arc Overload, this fight takes like a long time. 1-minute fights are pretty commonplace, but once they get in 2 minutes, 2 minutes and a half, you're kind of like stressing, like thinking, man, like, am I gonna time out? In one of my Alliance War videos, I brought in a 4-star Ghost Rider against a 455 Archangel on a, I believe it was like a 90% armor up node, and I swear, I was so upset because I thought I was gonna time out until I finally got the SP3 damnation off, and I was able to just hit him without having to bait specials, which sped up my DPS by a ton. Alright, so this is the last fight that I have to do because it was a morning star and I had to go to work, and I knew other people had Trinity, and they would be much more well equipped to take down that fight. Alright, so we got a 565 Dr. Voodoo, and this node is the I think it's like 200% regen and strike back, and I messed up here once. So basically my finger got like glued to the screen, and Void just wouldn't dash back, which is pretty annoying. And then I tried to punish the SP2. So what happened, I blocked the SP2 by accident, and I wasn't fast enough to come back in and attack him. So then Voodoo hit me a couple times. Alright, so I've got one petrified debuff on here, which is awesome because that means I don't have to worry about Mystic Dispersion as much or the strike back node. And as you can see, what you'll see many times in my videos that I'll parry several times, and what I'm trying to do is seeing if they'll bait their SP1. So I do that very often against Dormammu's, where I'll just parry back to back to back, and sometimes they'll throw their SP1, sometimes they don't, but when they do, it's happy days. Alright, so as you can see, I got Fear the Void, and I got 3 debuffs, and still got plenty of time on the clock. But what's amazing is when I start to basically almost be at another Fear of the Void, and I got 2 Petrified debuffs, and look, 550 and 350. That's 900 degeneration per second, and even more now that I got another debuff. But yeah, like, this Void's damage is freaking up there. Alright, and that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Good fight, MMX. They did really well. We kind of wet the bed, but I think people were nervous. But next time, hopefully we do a lot better. And catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yeah!